I'm a retired psychiatrist. Back in the late 80s and early 90s I worked at a particular mental hospital, before it was closed due to the psychiatry reform. Most of the time I don't think about what I saw there at all, but last night I had a nightmare about the fire. My granddaughter asked me about it, and when I told her a few carefully selected stories, she suggested I share my story online. Anyways, I think the first one I remember was being in a meeting room with a new patient. We can call him Eric. He was sitting opposite of me, slouched in the chair and sullen, with intense eyes and his hands cuffed to the table. I remembered from reading the old notes about him that he had been deemed incapable of standing trial after he murdered his sister's father-in-law, but strangely any notes about his diagnosis seemed to not have made it into his paperwork. He was lean, on the verge of being gaunt, and even without knowing why he was at the hospital, I could feel danger rolling off of him. Mind, he wasn't the first killer I've worked with, so while he was a bit unnerving, I knew how to handle him. When asking him about his family he kept to short answers, though I got the impression that the only one he had really been close to was his sister, with his father an abusive drunk. She was a couple of years older than him, and married their well-off neighbor's son. He also kept rather quiet as to why he'd killed his father-in-law, staring at me with a gaze that held a flickering flame as he asked why it even mattered. During the meeting I started feeling really warm, like the ventilation system wasn't working, and I smelled something acrid, like smoke. At first it was faint and I dismissed it entirely. And then I started asking Eric about his childhood in more detail. For these questions, I told Eric, trying to keep an even and calm tone, I'm not trying to judge you. I'm here to listen and help you, not judge. He snorted derisively and rolled his eyes. Not at me personally, it seemed, thankfully, so I pushed on. When you were younger, did you set any fires? Did you hurt anyone or anything, animals, younger children? He glared at me, the heat flaring up, with him almost looking outlined in a strange orange-red glow. You think I hurt young ones? Never. He tugged on the cuffs that kept him bound to the table, and on his skin a sheen of sweat as the scent became more powerful. All I did, everything I've done, was to protect. His words faded into a crackling of fire as smoke billowed around the table, and coughing I looked away. When I looked back, I was in my office. In front of me lay a folder from the archives, slightly smoke-damaged with a bit of charring on the edge, and as I gingerly opened it, a sepia photo of Eric met my eyes. The fire I mentioned? It took place in the 40s. No one figured out how it started, but several patients died and it led to the authorities investigating how the hospital was ran. He had died there. Buried on the mainland. And still, it seemed, like so many others, he hadn't left the hospital.